Hey guys, welcome. Look, we're gonna do something a little bit different today. We're gonna go ahead and do a live stream market update just experience here. We're gonna go through the stats. I'm gonna show you the graphs, just kind of show you what's going on in the market right now. I think it's kind of important um, because feel like I sound like a broken record. I feel like I've been saying the same thing for months and months on end, and maybe I have, but I want to be able to show you kind of what we're seeing and what the stats are technically saying, because really it's it's weird. It's a little weird right now. It's a little bit of a weird market. You can see almost how like the market was ready to take off and go wild, and then it paused and didn't. And now we're just kind of in this kind of nebulous area where, is the market hot? Is it not? Clients ask me all the time, how's the market doing? And my response is, market's great. Everything's awesome, because we at the Kromm team are busy. I mean, we're very busy, but I also look outside of our own bubble and I recognize that there's not a whole lot going on right now. There's not a whole lot of homes for sale. Um, and well, there's not a whole lot transacting. So I want to talk about that. I'm going to show you some charts, but let's go ahead and get into it. Now, the first thing that we want to talk about is what the problem actually is, and that is the interest rates. Um, there's this thing called the locked in effect, and that's basically everybody that, if you're going to buy a house or sell a house, if you're going to sell a house, you're usually going to buy a house. Like 70% of all transactions are someone sells a house and then they buy another one. Well, nobody wants to buy because they're living in a house that's got a 3 or 4, even a 5% interest rate. They don't want to buy another house at 7% because they have to sell and get out of their nice little 3% interest rate on their home and then buy another house at 7%. And that just doesn't make economic sense for anybody. So nobody really wants to sell. And then the interest rates, because they don't want to lose that 3% interest rate. And then nobody really wants to buy either, because they don't want to buy at 7%. So that has had a massive toll, and we'll look at numbers later on the actual volume of transactions that are happening overall across the country, but certainly here in Deschutes County, Redmond, Bend, etc. The interest rates are what's being very, very stubborn. And again, the interest rates are kind of right now, the Fed, all eyes are on the Fed and whether or not they're going to start cutting those rates. And it's not the mortgage rates, interest rates that they're actually cutting. They're cutting the Fed rate, but it loosely correlates and applies to each other. So the Fed's looking obviously at inflation, and they're looking at employment. So unfortunately, those two numbers are literally going the wrong way kind of at the moment. Inflation is staying stubbornly high, or stubbornly higher than they want it to, in order to cut rates. And then again, employment is kind of all over the board. The last couple of months, unemployment rate went down, then it went back up. And so that's not exactly being very helpful either. So again, in one of my last videos, I talked about this, how, they were projected to do like 6 cuts over the year. Then I got downgraded to 3 cuts, and I don't know if they're going to cut rates at all this year. Now it's very, very unknown. And so let's go ahead and jump into the stats. You'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. Here, we'll go ahead and change the screen. Boop. There we go. So these are the market stats. This is an app we've got. It's called InfoSparks. It gives us all of the stats. We'll poke around here a little bit, but let's go ahead and look at the. I've got Bend here in the blue, and I've got Redmond in the red, and we're just looking at, this is the last 5 years of sales, average sales price. You can see obviously they've gone up from 2022 to 2023. Things were crazy. They were ripping up like crazy, high sales points. But then also if you just look right here at the number, just in general, now this is a rolling 12-month average. So if I just did like a monthly, it would be very jagged, up and down, up and down, and up and down. But this is a rolling 12-month average, so it's a very nice smooth line. But in general, we are still up 2.4% sales price, average sales price over the course of the year in Bend. In Redmond, we are 0.4 down, which that's not much, really. That's not really much. So everybody thought prices were going to fall. Well, they didn't fall. They didn't really. They went up, but it's been pretty level. It's been pretty level, right? Again, if we look at the median sales price, the median, not the average. Obviously, there's a big difference there. The average is average between all of them, including the outliers. Median is where the most people are buying, kind of in that middle range are. We did a little bit better. Our median sales price is 705. It's 3.7% up. And then, of course, in Redmond, it's right at a nice, cool 500,000. That's 1.5%, 1.6% up over year. So again, prices are relatively staying the same, and they're still, in many cases, still increasing. I've got some more data on Bend specific per zip code, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. But I guess the point is that sales prices are staying relatively flat and even still increasing. Now, why is that? Well, that is because, like we talked about, this locked-in effect. Overall, you know, nobody is moving. Everyone's kind of just hit the pause button. And but the same number of people that are pausing on selling are pausing on buying. So nobody's really moving. I mean, that's not true. Like half of people or maybe 60% of people are still transacting, but we're still down a bunch, 30, sometimes 40%, depending on what year you're measuring it off of. Let's go ahead and look at that. Let's see, sold. Let's see, pending sales, home for sales. Sold. Let's go ahead and look at solds. Yeah, so this is over the 5 years. This right here, that's 4,700 homes sold that's probably May of 2021. June, sorry, you said right there, June of 2021 versus now, we're in April of 2024, 2,600 homes. So from 4,700 to 2,600. And again, right in here is where those interest rates started to spike. This has actually been 2 years old. We're in 2022 right here. This is where those interest rates started to finally spike, about right there, May of 2022. Since the interest rates spiked, they went from 3% to 6, and then up to 8, and then now we're kind of back at the 7 range. The volume, the number of sold homes, the actual number of units have dropped significantly from 4,000, 4,100 homes down to 2,500 homes. So we're seeing fewer transactions actually happen. All right, let's go ahead and look at a couple other things. That's all because, like we said, there's not enough inventory. People don't want to sell. So let's go ahead and look at months of supply and inventory. Where is that? Months of supply. This shouldn't shock you. Months of supply, we're talking about how many homes are actually on the market and how long it takes to chew through all the inventory based on how many homes are being sold. So 2021, 2022, you guys can see what happened there. Actually, from 2020 on down, it was this downward slope. Not a lot of months of supply. Basically, if same thing is over here, where's the days on market? Same thing. Days on market just bottomed out. Just literally here. This is 5 years ago. This is a full 5 year. I'm gonna go back to 10 years. This is a 10-year thing. This is days on market. Typically, on average, it took about 70 days, 80 days, 70 days, coming down 70, 60 days. Right in here, both Redmond and Bend tracked fairly normally right here for a long time, for years, on days on market. So you list your house, you put it on the market. It takes about 70 days for it to sell. Now, that's an average. We'll do a median here in a second. It'll probably go down. But then again, in 2020, it just absolutely hit rock bottom. I mean, average is 28 days. But again, watch this. I'm going to hit this little button over here, median. Remember, median takes in all the outliers. So if somebody's crazy overpriced and it just never sells, it's got 3, 4, 500 days on market, that screws up the average. But median here is 20 days, 28 days, 30 days right here. And then boom, 6 days on market. It took 6 days to sell. And that was still a median because we were selling tons of homes same day. I think I bought a house same day during that time frame. So, but now we're bouncing back. Now we're back in that 20, 21 day. This is starting to look a little bit more like it did over here, right? Again, the days on market, it's still very balanced. It's still like normal. And even all this, remember that all this was still a seller's market. It was a couple of months of inventory, like 2 months of inventory. Sometimes it reached 3. Most of the time it was in that 2-month range. 2 months of inventory is still a seller's market. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. We still definitely have a seller's market that's going on. And it's just It's just a little bit different right now because the overall volume of homes aren't selling. So if you had a home that you wanted to sell, you can still sell it. You probably won't get multiple offers unless it's just a money house, and maybe it is, and that would be awesome. You can get multiple offers on opening weekend, but we're not seeing it like we used to right in this range right here. Everything sold, multiple offers. I mean, we had clients that, we were on 11 written offers before we got them in a contract, and it took a long time to win the house. Right now, it's a very pre-pandemic market, which was still a very good market. But what do we think's happening? What do we think's coming up next? Well, it's a little unclear, like I talked about the interest rates. If we start getting those interest rates to come down, you can bet that this right here, this inventory, this months of supply, this is going to start trending downwards again. And if it trends downwards, we're going to start seeing the prices, the sales prices, go back to this elevated stance right here. You're already starting to see them take off here a little bit. That's probably a little bit due to the time of year. Let's take a look real quick at the other zip codes. I want to touch on this. This is interesting. If you're in Bend specifically, you'll find this interesting. 977 or in sold. I want to go to sales price. The west side, sorry guys, we're down right now. We're down 3% year over year on sales price. 97702 and 977. Wow, 97702 is up a bunch. Look at that. Oh, that's average. Let's do median. That's more realistic. More realistic. We're down a little in the 03 zip code. We are up 4.2% in the 02 zip code, and we're up almost to 1.8% in the 97701 zip code. Look at these, though. Isn't this kind of interesting? I found this very interesting. This is just a chart that shows the actual median sales price on a rolling 12-month average over the last 5 years. We're sitting here at about 580 for 97701, 714 for 02, and 949 for the 03 zip code. I just find this very, very interesting. So that's down just a little bit for the 03. Same thing over here. Months of supply. Well, we're low on supply everywhere, as you kind of know. This is another interesting one. Days on market. Here's the deal. Days on market, the median days on market are going up, 75% increase. Of course, this is down a lot, but we're seeing days on market starting to increase, right? Because people are still hitting the pause button. One thing I did want to show you, the last thing I wanted to show you that I thought was really interesting. This is the Beacon Report. This is a local appraisal group that they put out the kind of the stats. I can look at them live, but they put out stats every single month on the market for Bend, Redmond, Sisters, Lapine, the whole thing. Right here, this was last month. This is the March and this is April. Last month, we saw this big kick up. It goes from 682. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how I zoom in here. This is median price sales. This goes from 682, jumps up to 753 in 1 month. That's a pretty big spike in the average sales price. It looked like it was that spring bump. Spring's coming. The interest rates are going to come down. There was a lot of activity in the market. There was actually a few multiple offer situations that were happening. And then again, this next month happens and it comes back down to 707. That to me is a telling sign of what we've seen in general is that everybody wanted to jump in, and then we got some bad economic news. The interest rate stayed high, and everyone said, "Whoa, time out. Whoa, hold on." And so that's kind of what I get out of that a little bit. I kind of read into this stuff a little bit, maybe more than I should. Maybe I should just be quiet and sell real estate. But I try to notice some of these trends, right? So again, here, days on market for sold properties, see how they're trending down, but in the other stat, they weren't. So this will probably creep back up again in the next month because this is still take into account like some of those transactions have now closed and we're going to get that new data, right? It's because it's 30 to 45 days behind, in some cases more because of new construction. So I think it's really interesting to look at some of this. And then again, look, you can tell, again, this is another interesting one. This is conventional versus cash. The loans started taking off again in January. People are ready to get doing this. The interest rate's going to come down. We're going to get a loan. We're ready to go. But then again, I would probably guesstimate that next month, because one of these interest rates to fall and they just didn't, this 107 may level off or come back down a little bit. That's just my guess. So just throwing that out there. All right. Sales price per foot, months of supply. Again, right, we're back here at 2. It's pretty that's a pretty normal thing. 2 months of supply in Bend. We talked about that before. Back in 18, back from 14 to 19, basically, we were always floating around that 2 months of supply. And only back here in 21 and 22 in this area was it down there in the point 3. I mean, that was insane. So hope this is kind of interesting for you. I really hope it does. If it's just super boring, just then we won't have to do any more of these. But yeah, hope you found this interesting. Again, where are we going with all of this? Well, it still really depends. This is one of the more bipolar markets I've ever seen. We'll get a spike of phone calls, people reaching out if interest rates do just a little bit of a dip. And then they'll kind of go back up again, and we don't hear again from anybody for a while. And we start seeing homes that sat on the market continue to sit and continue to sit and continue to sit. If there is a little dip in interest rates, just a tiny little micro dip, then we'll start seeing new homes that come on the market go pending right away. It's a wild time right now. There are a lot of agents out there that are, spending a lot of time on social media, marketing themselves and trying to get business. And so are we, but we're actually out there every day. We're writing contracts. We're putting homes in contract. We have a good bank of business, and like I said, we ask for your business. If you are in the area and you are looking to buy or sell here in Central Oregon, buy or sell, we would love to be your real estate resource of choice. So let us know. Thank you so much for watching. And this is weird. Let me know if you like this down in the comments. I want to know if this was interesting to you. If you were able to look at the charts, follow them, understand what we were going into. And if you found this interesting, please let us know. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.